Good morning to you all. This is Sveksha Pandey on the behalf of Krishnan House with a speech on the topic COVID-19. As you know, a respiratory disease called COVID-19 is spreading across the world. India has also reported cases from states and the government is trying to contain the spread of this disease. COVID-19 is a disease caused by the novel coronavirus. Its common symptoms are dry, cough, fever, breathing difficulty, etc. Some patients also have aches and pains, nasal congestion, running nose, sore throat and diarrhea. About 80% of confirmed cases around recover from the disease without any serious complications. However, 1 out of every 6 people who gets COVID-19 can become seriously ill and develop difficulty breathing. In more severe cases, infection can cause severe pneumonia and other complications which can be treated only at higher level facilities. In few cases, it may even cause death. COVID-19 is spread mainly by droplets produced as a result of coughing or sneezing of COVID-19 infected people. This can happen in two ways: direct close contact or indirect close contact. To avoid COVID-19, we should practice social distancing. For example, avoid gathering, maintain social distancing, stay at home, etc. Other factors that we should practice are good hygiene, as wash your hands frequently, use soap or water. Do not shout or spit shout, self-monitor, etc. Be safe, stay at home. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Here I am Sasank Kumar with a speech on COVID-19 pandemic. The coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is a defining global health crisis of our all time and the greatest challenge we have faced since World War II. Since its emergence in Asia late last year, the virus has spread to every continent except Antarctica. But the pandemic is much more than a health crisis. It's also an unprecedented socio-economic crisis. It's stressing every one of the countries it touches. It has the potential to create devastating social, economic and political effects that will leave deep and long-lasting scars. UNDP is the technical lead in the UN's socio-economic recovery alongside the health response led by WHO and the Global Humanitarian Response Plan, and working under the leadership of the UN resident coordinators. Every day, people are losing jobs and income with no way of knowing when normally will return. Small islands, nations heavily dependent on tourism, have empty hotels and deserted beaches. The International Labour Organization estimates that 195 million jobs could be lost. The World Bank projects a $110 billion decline in remittances this year, which could mean 800 million people will not be able to meet their basic needs. UNDP response: every country needs to act immediately to prepare, respond and recover. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has launched a $2 billion global humanitarian response plan in the most vulnerable. Developing countries could lose at least $220 billion in income, and the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development has called for $2.5 trillion to support them. Drawing on our experience with other outbreaks such as Ebola, HIV, SARS, TB and malaria, as well as our long history of working with the private and public sector, UNDP will help countries to urgently and effectively respond to COVID-19 as a part of its mission to eradicate poverty, reduce inequalities and build resilience to crisis and solve. The need of UNDP's COVID-19 crisis response is designed to help decision making look beyond recovery towards 2030, making choices and managing complexity and certainty in four main areas: governance, social protection, green economy and digital disruption. It encompasses our role in technically leading the UN socio-economic response. We have been supporting countries since the very early stage of this crisis, donating essential protective medical equipment. As the response evolves and after assessing the immediate, medium, and long-term needs, we are moving into the socio-economic response. We are supporting small businesses in Bosnia and Herzegovina. After an assessment report estimates half could close in next few months. In Ecuador, an accelerator lab is using crowdsourcing to connect the most vulnerable with food, goods, and services. Afghanistan's fragile economy and peace process are both threatened by the pandemic, and UNDP is supporting expanded social protection for poor and vulnerable Afghans, such as pension for the elderly and public works. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Here myself Soumya and I am here to deliver a short speech on the topic impact of corona crisis in today's world. From the starting of this year only, we are hearing of a word, COVID-19. Now the question arises in our mind is that what does this COVID-19 exactly mean? Actually, COVID-19 is a virus belonging to a family of virus which is coronavirus. This is spread from person to person and have symptoms like common fever, cough, breathing difficulties, and sometimes none of these. Till the time now, the virus had ruined at all corners of the world. Either it's India, USA or any other country worldwide. Because of this pandemic only, everything has stopped. Schools are closed, offices are closed, transport and communication system is also disturbed. The government are announcing lockdowns to stop the spread of this COVID-19. These lockdowns also help the government to decrease the level of pollution in the countries, and also the people are having good time with their family. They are getting too much of time to spend with their families and understand them. But these all benefits are so less to overcome the crisis caused by the virus. As we called about the crisis, the economical crisis as first. According to the report of CIS and IRS, the report says that this year is the worst year related to the Indian economy after the independence, 1947. And also if we talk about the educational sector, educational crisis, as the schools are closed, the teacher and the student are interacting through videos and online. The students are carrying on their studies because of the lectures or the online classes that are arranged by the schools. And if we don't count the economical crisis or the educational crisis or any other crisis, the most precious gift that we human think is lives of the people. Not 100, not 1,000, there are lakhs of people, or I think countless numbers of people who had died because of this coronavirus. But thanks to our technological and scientific development, we are at some point able to supply, or the government is able to supply the necessary items to the needy people, or they are sending them treatment so that they can recover. We should thankful to our scientific and technological development. Every person, every man, woman or every single child is working very hard to overcome this crisis, and I am damn sure that one day we will overcome this pandemic. But till then, we have to be safe and have a belief that the sun will rise again. We will fly again in the clouds of our old lives before coronavirus, and we will definitely win. Not immediately, but definitely. So till then, stay to your homes, stay in your homes, be happy and fight corona. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. I am Shivanshu Agrari, going to deliver a short speech on the topic COVID-19 crisis impact on the today's world. We are facing a global health crisis of coronavirus, one which is killing the people, spreading the human suffering and impending the people's lives. But this is not just health crisis but more than that. It is a economical, human and social crisis as well. The WHO has characterized this coronavirus as a pandemic, which is attacking at the core of the societies. The outbreak of the coronavirus is affecting every segment of the population, including the social groups in the vulnerable situations. If we talk about the effect of this coronavirus is on every person in the world, such as the older people, people with disabilities, youths, students, and many more. The coronavirus is disproportionately affecting the poor people. For example, homeless people who do not have home. They have not unable to shelter at the place. So they are at very high risk of being affected by this coronavirus COVID-19. Secondly, if we talk about the people who are not access with the water, refugees, migrants and displaced people, they are also at the very high risk because that people are not have such facilities that we have. They are also disproportionately affected by this coronavirus. They will be affected during the coronavirus and they will also be affected after that coronavirus. If we talk about the social crisis created by this coronavirus is being increasing the globally unemployment, social inclusion, discrimination and many more. First, let's talk about the people who are being jobless. According to a survey, it has said that many people are being jobless in this coronavirus pandemic. Many have the fear of going their jobs. So, the coronavirus has ruined their life. If we talk about older people, they have very weak immune, so they need to the more cure. But in this coronavirus, there is no one to take care of them. And the same condition is with the people suffering with the disabilities. So, if we secondly talk about the youths or students, they are also a much sufferer because according to a survey, it has said that more than the 1 billion students are not going to school. So, in this way, the education is ruining. The quality of education is decreasing. So, it is also affect them. So, if we talk about the economy is going worse and worse because according to a survey of IMF, it has said that in the year 2020, the steepest slowdown of the global economy has gone. It has a second time when that economy is very slow after the Great Depression period of 1930s. There are lots of things to tell you, but I have no more time. So at last I conclude my speech by that the coronavirus has ruined our life, and to overcome this coronavirus it will take time. So stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
Everyone, this is Shreyas Shukla on behalf of Lohia House and I am here to present a short speech on the topic impacts of COVID-19. Coronavirus has a great impact on the world. It has made a global crisis now. United Nations has also approved it as a pandemic. It has both positive and negative impacts. So let's first talk about some positive impacts of COVID-19. During this lockdown, we aren't able to do our work well. We are here only at home. We are not able to run the factories. The things are just stopped. But it has a very good effect on the nature. According to a report by Chinese Ministry of Environment, it says that the air has purified up to 84.5% in 337 cities, which is a great number. One other advantage which I feel is settlement of online education. I think it will affect the future at a very good positive way. Now let's move to some negative things, negative impacts which has just done because of this coronavirus. We are here at our homes. The economic activities is just stopped, and because of this the economy of the world is very low. According to a report of Indian Monetary Fund International Monetary Fund, it says that there is a shrinkage of 3% world economy, which is a very great number. Countries like India, China, Spain and Italy has faced a very decrease in this GDP, and the rates goes up to 25% decrease in GDP rates. Now we can't do anything, just we can have some preventions to make this disease defeated. China have just defeated the disease. Russia is saying that they have evolved the medicine. India is also planning to launch it at the end of the year. We can just wait and watch. Thank you. Be safe.
It is not the time to fight against gender, religion, and caste, but the time to protect life and humanity. And by going through it, we could conquer over this pandemic. By this thought, I am Abhishek Singh. On behalf of Lohia House, I came in front of you to give a speech on the effect of coronavirus in the world. As we all are aware about the harmful effects of coronavirus, we are aware about the severe pandemic. The corona outbreak has been devastated globally. It has a very harmful effect on the country's economy. It has put the world into a great problem and in a situation in which the world would affect politically, socially, and economically. Institutions are closed, factories and industries are banned, and all the world has standed in a situation in which there is no growth and development. Corona crisis has also affected education sector greatly. Children are unable to go to schools. Being bad impacts, coronavirus told the world the role of technology and science in the development of the nations. Today, we are able to understand the role of science through online studies and home shoppings. Nature has reflourished and told the people of the world about their insensitivity towards it. The world needs to be so caring today. We have to break the chain of corona so that we will protect our and ourselves and also the others' life also. And if all the people of the world could follow their responsibilities, then believe me, we could conquer over it. People have to wear masks and should need to follow the idea of social distancing. When you feel like hope is gone, when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you will finally see the truth that nothing is greater or bigger than human determination. So, by this quote, I want to stop for now. Be careful.
Good morning everyone. I am Tejas Shukla from Lohia House is going to present a short speech on impact of corona crisis in today's world. As we all know, the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic disease which originated from a city of Wuhan, China has spread quickly to the various countries and many cases has been reported worldwide. WHO announced COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic on 11th March 2020, but our government, our nation went into lockdown on 24th of March 2020. Since then, we have seen the series of events that affected our society and the migrant laborers were worst hit. It was one of the largest exodus humankind has ever seen, and many of them has lost their jobs and purely come on to surviving anyhow. Unemployment, which was already present in our society before this outbreak, now roaring up to 26% with 5 million losses of jobs, indicating how depressed our society, our economy has become. As we all have seen in the news, how teachers to technicians all are forced to sell vegetables due to the jobless. But gradually, we are putting up a good fight against the virus with a good recovery rate, and vaccines might be manufactured in India. Nothing can prepare us for unexpected, but there is one lesson which is to be learned. It is that the countries which invested in the accessible health care are today best equipped to deal with an unexpected health crisis. Given the nature of the virus, contagious, deadly, and swift, one would have expected two nations to come together to fight it. Instead, tragically, we all have watched how COVID 19 laid bare all fault lines of our societies. So, at last, I wanted to say you all, please don't forget to wear your mask and using the sanitizer. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
Hello Radiant, this is Pratiksha Mishra behalf of Lohia House with a short speech on the topic Corona crisis in today's world. The pandemic that is currently being faced in 2020 is termed as coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 for short. COVID-19 is caused due to a novel strain of coronavirus. Its common symptoms of infection include difficulty in breathing, common cold, cough, flu, fever, etc. But this can complicate into various severe symptoms such as pneumonia, SARS, kidney failure, or even death. The major cause of concern for COVID 19 includes its multiplicative effect in vulnerable and susceptible groups, its infection, its global level transmission, its repeated emergence, and the mortality to the care providers. COVID 19 has been a largely disruptive factor when it comes to the economics at the global level or at the national level. In India, in the months of March and April, there have been a rise in the unemployment level from 6.7% to 26%. That is almost by a factor of 4 times larger than the pre-pandemic numbers. State Bank of India's research has concluded that there may be 40% contraction in India's GDP this year, and it may vary all over the country by the sector and the state among different parameters. In between the continuous hammering of COVID 19 related news in the past few months, the society at large has been engulfed between the apprehension and the tension. The pandemic has also affected the education by the widespread closure of schools and universities. As per the reports of UNESCO, the widespread closure of schools and universities was implemented by 165 countries nationwide. The pandemic has also been followed. By a concern over the potential spike in the number of suicides, that is maybe due to the social quarantine, social distancing guidelines, fear, unemployment, or the financial factor. But the world is fighting and healing with this corona crisis together as a family. In our country, India as well, the doctors, the police force, and many more are serving the nation as corona warriors. So I think all these efforts together will surely help to vanish the virus very soon. And this is really very well said that be strong, the situation will change. Be strong, the situation will change. The situation may be humid, but it will not forever rain. So stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Honorable judges, respected teachers, and digital audience, a very lovely morning to you all. Here I am Prajwal Singh before you on behalf of Raman House to deliver a speech on the impact of corona crisis in today's world, from coronavirus to corona crisis. The spread of coronavirus has turned into corona crisis. But when and how did it turn into corona crisis? How is it affecting the Indian markets? What impacts it has on global economy? COVID-19, coronavirus disease 2019, was first identified in Wuhan city of China in December 2019. By 22nd August 2020, there were 22 crore 42 lakhs 3016 confirmed cases of corona and 7 lakh 87,909 deaths worldwide. Healthcare employment decreased 9.5% from February through April 2020 as more than 1.5 billion people lost their jobs. Corona crisis may get worse and worse and worse. Due to economic slowdown, there is a production haltment in the countries that were dependent on China, as China constitutes about 16.3% of the world's total GDP and is just now recovering from the UN-China trade war. As the pandemic is over, half of the world's population of 7.8 billion people will be living in poverty. Annual GDP growth is projected to drop to 2.4% in 2020 as a whole. Crude oil prices have dipped below $20, which is beneficial to all importing countries like India and is detrimental to countries like Saudi Arabia. According to International Monetary Fund, in UN, the proportion of people out of work has hit 10.4%. Around 98.6% of the world's total student population is affected due to school closures. There is a rise in pharmaceutical companies from Roche plus 32% to AstraZeneca plus 45%. Due to economic slowdown, there is an increase in quality of air and water. 14% of India's trade are from China. Hence, India is also affected due to the corona outbreak in China. But in this hard struggling time, there is an opportunity to rebuild our economy. It is the responsibility of each and every citizen of our country to utilize our homemade resources and make local as vocal and make the dream of our Prime Minister of Atmanirbhar Bharat should come true. Here, I am ending my words on a positive approach that never to give up on a dream just because of time, because the time it is taking to accomplish it will pass anyway. Thank you.
Honorable judges, teachers and digital audience, a very lovely morning to you all. Here I am Shubham Prajapati before you on behalf of Raman House to deliver a short speech on the topic impact of corona crisis in today's world. Which sector of the global economic will grow faster? How to withstand this situation? Does the coming year too will be affected by this? Once lockdown is lifted, how will the productivity rise? About corona disease, COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus from the Wuhan city of the China in December 2019. Near about 23.1 million cases in today's time are there of corona. There are 14.8 million recovered and 803 crore deaths all around the world. COVID-19 is just not affecting the health of the people but also economic of many countries. The COVID-19 outbreak is forcing companies to explore how they can survive while gaping with crisis of the moment proportion. Global growth would be lowered by around half percent point this year relative to that expected in the November 2019 economic outlook. Due to slowdown, there is a negative impact on tourism also. Tourists spend money in the countries they visit, so the loss this money is affecting the economics of many countries. India's growth in the fourth quarter of the fiscal year 2020 went down to 3.1% according to Ministry of Statistics. The environmental benefits seen as a result of the global slowdown, less turbid water bodies, less smoke, etc., hint at the potential positive impact of a Green New Deal. The government of India has taken many steps to cure over this problem. It has announced rupees 90,000 crore equality for power distribution companies. Also roll out the One Nation One Ration Card scheme to ensure that availability of ration to migrant workers. There is a rapid boost in agriculture sector like health and hospital, pharmaceutical, biotechnology, financial sector, insurance sector, IT sector, online/digital education, digital marketing, AI, robotics, etc. will grow faster. Overall, we can say that global growth has lost its momentum. The only way to come over this situation is that G20 countries should come forward and help those countries that are in the need. If you would like to know how it feels to be in hospitality during this coronavirus pandemic, remember when the Titanic was sinking and the band continued to play. Well, we are the band. Thank you. Have a nice day.
A very good morning to one and all present here. This is Amber on behalf of Krishnan House going to deliver a short speech on the topic the impact of corona crisis in today's world. The world battles a global pandemic and one of the biggest crises of all time, that's the COVID-19. Since its emergence in Asia late last year, the virus has spread to every continent except Antarctica. But the pandemic is much more than the health crisis. It's also an unprecedented socio-economic crisis, stressing every country it touches. It has potentiality to create devastating social, economic and political effect that will leave a deep and long-standing scars. Every day, people are losing their jobs and incomes with no way of knowing when the normality will return. The International Labour Organization estimates that 195 million people would lose their jobs. And what if the people are not able to meet their necessary needs? Then there may be increase in the number of people battling for acute hunger. Many of the people are dying every day just because of no vaccine have been discovered yet, and just because people are not taking the word pandemic seriously. Actually, pandemic is a word if misused can cause unreasonable fear and death too. At last, I want to end my word with this, that we have faced many of the challenges together. And we'll make sure that our next year would be the best year of our history. And the only religious of mankind is always and has been hope. So this is the time, and this too shall pass. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
A very good morning to all of you. Here I am Mantasha Fatima on behalf of Raman House and hoping that you are staying at home and taking all the precautions to protect yourself and your family from COVID-19. So today I am here to represent a speech on a topic, the crisis of COVID-19 on today's life. As you heard that I have mentioned that we have to stay at home. Why? Because the more people that you come into contact with, the higher your risk of contacting with coronavirus. The outbreak of coronavirus disease has created a global health crisis that has a deep impact on the way we perceive our world and our everyday life. Not only the rate of contagion, pattern of transmission threaten our sense of agency, but the safety measure put in place to contain the spread of the virus also requires social distancing by refraining from doing which is inherently human, which is to find calmness in a pandemic has also affected educational system worldwide, leading to the near total ending of school, universities and colleges. School closures impact not only student, teacher and families but have far-reaching economical and social consequences. School conclusions in response to the pandemic have shed light on the various social and economical issues including student debt, digital learning, food insecurity and homelessness, as well as access to childcare, healthcare, housing, internet and disability services. The impact was more severe for disadvantaged children and their families, causing interrupted learning, compromised nutrition, children problem and consequent economical cost to families who could not work. So, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, we should wash our hands regularly, we should use alcohol-based sanitizer, use face masks, avoid large gathering and avoid close contact. Lastly, I want to thank to our frontline healthcare worker. Thank you for your sacrifices you make every day, especially during this pandemic. Your service to patient is serving countless lives and making thousands of differences. Thank you so much for all your hard work and support during this difficult time. Your humility, kindness and strength are greatly appreciated. Thank you for being our nation's guiding light in the face of this adversity. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Myself Tanu. But what? What are you guys doing here? Oh, it's Corona Kal. This is the biggest impact of this pandemic, where we could have live interactions and classes. There we are working like this on phone, far apart from each other. Guys, our nature have an osmotic characteristic. It is limitless and open. Just because of that, we have been manipulating it for years and years, and the result is in front of us in form of COVID-19. This have a very bad impact on our nature, but it's nothing, just the way in which our nature is healing itself. It has been studied that Corona have plunged the world into an economic crisis like none other. Businesses across the world have been crippled completely, and the impacts can be seen on shared market also. Stocks are being shifted, because of which an impact and bad impact can be seen on the value of pensions as well as individual saving accounts. After that, in many countries like UK, the central banks have reduced the interest rate so that they can encourage the activities of borrowing and spending to boost the economy. The demand for natural oil have also declined at a very significant pace. After that, you can see that tourism sector is also badly hit because the airlines are cancelling the flights, and after that customers are also cancelling their tours and trips across the world. This all is disastrous. Unemployment rate in countries like USA have reached 14.7% and in countries like India it have reached around 28%. Billion dollars are pledged for the vaccine, but we really don't have any idea when these investments are going to be worth of. Till then, let's see the second side of the coin. I mean positive impacts. Yeah, it has some positive impacts too. It helped us to build a genuine relationship with our family. It emphasized on online education along with work from home, which are an integral elements of this technological era. And most importantly, our nature, our abode is healing. It's restoring itself. Do you have any idea that the ozone depletion is being healed? And people from northern India, now they are able to witness the wonderful sight of Himalaya. Swans are returning back to Venice Canal and peacocks are seen in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore like cities. Pollution of Ganga and Yamuna have reduced to some extent. AQI, Air Quality Index of many countries like Bangkok have been improved. Isn't it all interesting? It is. Guys, nature is not asking us to clean it or to organize drives and campaigns. It's just asking us not to pollute it further, not to destroy it further. It will retain itself on its own. Hence, love nature, stay close to nature, it will never let you down. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Keep smiling, keep reading. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Good morning, myself Vidya Singh. I am from class 11th A and on the behalf of Teresa House, I am going to talk about the impacts and crisis of the COVID-19 over the world. Everybody says one can't change the world, but this statement proved to be wrong. Late 2019 brought a major viral disaster in the lives of people. Everyone lose something. Students lose their schools, adults lose their jobs, economy shrunk down, and many people lose their breath. People got stuck in homes during the COVID-19. It affected the world in every way it could, whether the economical, cultural, social, or individual. If we talk about the social impact, people nowadays are grateful for having mobile phones and smartphones, connected them with families and friends. Even when social distancing criteria is performed, they are afraid of being COVID positive. Children are away from their institutions and playgrounds. The parents aren't on their office seats. Wheels of infrastructures has stopped. Even when the lockdown is over, people are still afraid of outside world. Several suicidal cases of people who became panic for their COVID-19 reports was confirmed. Coronavirus warriors like doctors, nurses, police staffs aren't going to their homes for weeks just to protect their families and friends from this pandemic disaster. If we go through the cultural impacts, people aren't allowed to celebrate their festivals, marriage ceremonies and in the usual way. Even people aren't allowed to gather around the bodies of their loved ones, their families. The pandemic proved to be very harsh over humanity. Many people didn't get a chance to hold the hands of their families during their last breath. As for expected, the global economy got shrunk by 3%. And in 2019, it also again increased up to 7% since the Great Economic Depression of 1930. But we can all hope that one day this pandemic would be over and that day all the things will be back to normal. We can all hope for that day. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. Here I am Sudhanshu Pandey standing in front of you to deliver a speech on the topic Impact of Corona Crisis in Today's World. As you all are aware that the world today is struggling with an unprecedented crisis of COVID-19. Most of the sections of the society have been widely, deeply and badly affected by this virus. The working classes have perhaps been the worst hit. The factory workers and the private school teachers have lost their livelihood in the last few months. Since the closing of schools during the lockdown in March, most of the teachers working in privately owned schools, they have been either receiving fractions of their regular payment or they have been completely neglected from the school. As for industrial workers, they have been thrown out of their work, and they are struggling to earn their livelihood. The closing down of schools has yet another impact on yet another part of the society, that is the school students. The students belonging to poor families or who are living in remote rural areas, they don't have much access to technology, and hence they are not able to cope up with the online teaching. Another section of the society which have been deeply affected is perhaps our medical staff and policemen. We must be actually so very much thankful to them, for they are working 24 hours for us so that we could remain away from this virus. And in case we get infected by the virus, they are also working so much hard to get us treated. This is definitely a time of difficulty and a challenge for us, but we have to emerge victorious out of this problem also. Following social distancing, wearing masks whenever we go out of our homes, and following all the government advisories according to our own abilities, we would be able to win this battle. That's all. Thank you.
Morning, respected teachers and my dear friends. Myself, Parth Madhu Singh, and today I am here for the inter-house speech competition on the topic impact of Corona crisis on today's world. So let's start. The Corona disease COVID-19 pandemic, which started in the city of Wuhan, China, has quickly spread to various countries, with many cases having been reported worldwide. Corona has made a huge impact on various aspects of human life around the world. Coronavirus is an epidemic that has not only affected human life and social relations but has also changed other important areas of life. The growing importance of health in society has led many stores to place disinfect and the entrances of shops to relieve customer worries so that people can use them when entering and leaving, and their concerns about the possibility of contamination reduce viruses. The closure of schools, universities and other institutions to prevent the spread of coronavirus has caused people to spend a lot of time at home, which can lead people to acquire skills and hobbies such as reading, painting, music, swimming, cooking, entertainment and so on, and discover a lot of hidden talent. There is no doubt that quarantine and distance from society can have many negative impacts, and not attending school for a long time periods reduces students' ability to learn. School closures impact not only students, teachers and families but have far-reaching economic and social consequences. School closures in response to the pandemic labor have shed light on various social and economic issues including school debt, digital learning, food insecurity and homelessness, as well as access to child care, health care, housing, internet and disability services. The impact was more severe for disadvantaged children and their families, causing interrupted learning, compromised nutrition, child care problem and consequent economic cost to families who could not work. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a substantial impact on the film industry in 2020, measuring its impact across all sectors across the world, and to verified degrees, cinemas and movie theaters have been closed, festivals have been cancelled or postponed, and film releases have been moved to future dates or delayed indefinitely. Due to by billions of dollars, the closure of companies, factories and department stores have serious economic consequences, especially for employees, and livestock sales will be applied to prevent the spread of virus and infectious diseases. Following the escalation of the corona epidemic, travel and tourism restriction and the closure of many passenger companies, the economy of many countries are becoming increasingly vulnerable, and the people working and investing in this area are facing difficult challenges. COVID-19 can cause a range of symptoms of widely varying severity in people. Some are sick enough to need hospitalization, supplementary oxygen, and the use of ventilator. Broadly, as a respiratory virus, COVID-19 causes breathlessness, fatigue, and muscle ache. We wish the COVID-19 pandemic be soon over, and thank you all the coronavirus on behalf of us. Thank you.
Students have put in their whole efforts to make this performance fantastic, and really it was very good performance. Now let's move to the result and see who's the winner and who lose.